Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and this is my 31 days of horror movie reviews. And I am using this as an excuse to watch a bunch of movies that came out this year that I didn't see, that I'm behind on, especially with horror films. This is the perfect format to do it. And I remember when this movie came out earlier this year, and I remember thinking, this looks stupid. Just judging from the poster and the title. It's called The Woman in the Yard. Sometimes the movie titles are way too literal. 2025 film, like I said, and this is a Blumhouse production. I didn't know that until I started the movie and saw the opening Blumhouse logo, and I thought, oy vey. I mean, this could be. Blumhouse is so weird because it could be really good, like surprisingly good, or it can absolutely suck. There's like no in between with Blumhouse. It's either terrible or it's great. And I guess another reason why I gave this a shot is because I was pleasantly surprised by that Clown in the Cornfield movie that I watched. Similar title, but way better. Now, this movie is directed by Juami Colette Serra, which is a name that, as much as I probably mispronounced it, it's a name that looked familiar. I looked him up, and he's directed mostly Liam Neeson action-y type films, so I don't know why he's doing this horror movie. Okay. It stars Ramona, who is played by Danielle Deadwyler, and she's a mother, a wife, a widow, because her husband died in a car accident, and the movie starts with her in a really bad place. Like, she is struggling after the death of her husband. She's depressed. She's also injured because the accident was very recent. And she has these two kids that she's sort of trying to be there for, but once again, she's in a state. And then this woman, dressed in black, is in front of their house, in their yard, as the title says, and she's just sitting there. She's sitting there, she's watching them, she's not moving, she's not talking, unless she went up to her and asked her questions, and then the woman actually talked back to her, but very vague, very one-word answers, and she just won't leave, and it's creeping them out, it's creeping the kids out, and over the course of the movie, obviously, some supernatural weird shit starts to happen involving this woman in the yard. This movie, I'm going to try to be fair. I'm going to try to have an open mind, because there came a point very early on when I figured out what was going on with this movie. It's not the most unpredictable thing. This isn't a Sixth Sense where you won't see the twist ending coming. I think it's fairly obvious within like maybe a half hour of what's going on. But even if you don't figure it out, I think you'll figure it out before the movie tells you what's going on. I'm still not going to get too much into it. Maybe I will later. I don't know. But so this woman in the yard, I just wasn't creeped out. I think that's my number one thing. I wasn't as creeped out as this movie, I think, wants you to be creeped out. This movie wants you to be in terror. This movie wants you to bite your nails. This movie wants you to be in suspense this entire time because this family potentially is in danger. Now, I can appreciate them setting up this backstory of what happened to the husband, the hurt and guilt that the wife is feeling, the strained relationship with her and her two kids. Like, all of that gave them some personality, I guess, or some dimensions. But my issue is that I didn't care about any of them. I didn't care because these kids were bad as hell. They were bad and annoying. And maybe you could argue, given how the mother was acting, how sort of in her own world she was, that maybe some of it's deserved. Maybe the kids were acting out for good reason. But the oldest son especially, Tyler, he was the most annoying. He was like purposely talking back, purposely doing things that his mother asked him not to do. And I know he's like a young teen, so obviously every movie and TV show writes teenagers to be disruptive and to talk back and to do everything against the parents. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen in real life. Of course it does. But it doesn't make the greatest movie watching experience. It doesn't make me like these characters when I'm constantly frustrated, especially by the kids. The daughter is very young, so I'm going to cut her some slack, but there were a couple scenes where the daughter was asking some really dumb questions. Who is that lady in the yard? Why is she dressed like that? Why is she wearing that over her face? Where did she come from? What did it's like? Shut the fuck up. They obviously nobody knows anything, girl. We don't know who the fuck she is. And the Ramona, the mother. I mean, I think acting wise she was good. It comes to a point though where she starts to feel like a shitty mother. You know, I know she's dealing with her own interpersonal mental shit, right? I know she's fucked up, so I'm not saying that, but it's just you're sort of wondering like, who am I supposed to care the most for, or am I supposed to care about all of them? Because I don't know. We could end this movie and wrap this shit up by just killing off the whole family, and I think I'd be a lot better with my time not being wasted. Now, the movie's not shot bad. Like, it's shot decently. I was just bored to tears for most of it. It's either not a lot happened, or when something did happen, it was either cheap jump scares, or it was the shitty effect of the woman's shadow into the house, manipulating things, making things happen because the sunlight coming through the windows, and I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. I couldn't get into it. And then you get the ending. Now, before I get into it, before I talk spoilers, this movie's PG-13, so don't expect anything crazy. Although there was a couple of dark stuff that I was a little surprised at as far as image-wise goes. It's not really necessarily for kids. Before I get into the spoiler stuff, I'll just give it some old bullshit, and that's more of just my boredom, more of just my mood. I wasn't really angry the entire time. I was just kind of like, I was bored. I really was. I was bored. Now, the twist at the end is that you find out that this woman in the yard is actually in the head of the mother. Like, it's all in her head. The woman in the yard represents the suicidal thoughts that the mother is having, given that she feels guilt over the husband's death, given that she has thoughts and urges to maybe want to kill her kids. And I thought that could be interesting. This could be like a Shining situation where she's pushed and urged to do these dark and heinous things, but the movie doesn't really go there. I can respect the very, very ending of the movie and what they tried to do as a message, but I just did not think it was earned. I did not think this movie was told well enough to try to go for what they were going for. I just didn't care as much as I wish I did. I think the idea is interesting. I think they could have made a better movie with this idea if it was done better, or if it was handled better, edited better. Whatever the case is, I think that it could have been something worthwhile, not necessarily sticks the landing. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of The Woman in the Yard? Did you watch it? It's on Peacock, so that's how I watched it. I would have been more pissed if I saw this in the theaters. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
Please won't you save my